So this is going to be kind of a long video. And somebody commented on one of my videos and asked how I got into this situation, and I said that it's a little long. It's kind of a long story to say in a comment, so I would record a video. As far as being homeless, I have been homeless off and on since I was about 18. When I was younger, well, not 18, a little, no, yeah, about 18, actually, 18, 19, somewhere around there. I never did good in school. Like, at least I didn't get good grades, so I would ace all of my tests, but I never did my homework. And the teachers were absolutely dumbfounded. They didn't understand why. You know, like, how are you doing this? I would spend more time at the library reading and doing my own research into things that I liked rather than doing homework, which I found boring because it was just repeating stuff from a textbook onto a piece of paper. I wasn't really learning anything. And then I dropped out of high school, got my GED, got it in one shot. I didn't have to really study for it or anything. Well, except math. I was never good at math. I did like a little math class to get up to a high school level, and I passed. So then I went to Job Corps. If anybody doesn't know, Job Corps it's still around today. It's a government-run trade school, basically. They train everything from welding to bricklaying to office work. And I actually went into office work, specifically accounting, which is kind of funny because I suck at math, but I'm good at accounting because there's something about balancing spreadsheets that make my autistic brain very happy. And it was very, very recently that I found out that I'm autistic. And that's why I've had such a rough life so far, because my brain doesn't work like other people's. So I could never hold down a job. I would work like 3 or 4 months here, a couple months there, and I just did not get along well with other people, and because of that, I could never have a place of my own because I never had a steady income, and I usually ended up living in a car. And when I was 20, 21, yeah, 21. Because I could legally drink. I got married for the first time, and she turned out to be extremely abusive, both physically and also emotionally. She constantly insulted me, insulted my weight, insulted parts about things about my body, things like that. She hated the fact that I couldn't keep a job, and instead of supporting me and trying to help me succeed, she just constantly abused me. And I finally left her when she got physically abusive and started throwing things at me, to the point where she actually did hurt me enough that I almost had to go to the hospital. There was also a time when I accidentally electrocuted myself working on her dryer, and all she could do was laugh when her uncle, who was an EMT, was like, "We need to get you to the hospital now." And she was like, "Oh, he'll be fine." It was after that I was like, yeah, no, fuck this. I am divorcing her. So I did that. Ended up homeless again. Kind of bounced around to a bunch of places. And, oh man, basically, I just haven't had a stable life at all. I'm 36 years old, and this is the first time, because I got married again. I was homeless when I met my second wife. We got married. We had a son. His name's Damon. He's like the greatest child on the planet in my eyes. That's when I found out I'm autistic, because he's autistic. He was actually diagnosed with autism, and he is my mini clone. We are almost exactly alike. He has a lot of the same little quirks and just weird things that he does that I do. And I was like, wow, that makes so much more sense. And when I started looking into what autism actually is, I was like, wow, everything makes sense now. the fact that I don't get along with people very well, and I have a hard time adjusting to social situations and stuff like that. It just, yeah, it made perfect sense. And once I started learning more about being autistic and how to overcome that stuff, I started to do better. I mean, I'm still not doing well because I live in a motel and we have to move out, and I'm probably going to end up moving halfway across the country. But yeah, learning that I'm autistic, learning that I'm LGBT, and I am bisexual, and also kind of non-binary. I felt better about myself, and it has helped me a lot, at least personally. And I do better at work now, because if I start to get frustrated with something or anything like that, I now have the insight into myself, into how I am as a person, to go, okay, this is why this is happening. And I will let people know when I start working with them, like, hey, I'm autistic, I have ADHD. If you see me starting to get frustrated, tell me, hey, go stand over there for like 5 minutes and just chill. And a lot of people are cool with that. They're just like, yeah, you need to go chill for like 5 minutes and just, before you yell at somebody, because that was one of my things, was I would get extremely frustrated, and people would say I'm an asshole. I'm not an asshole. I don't like treating people bad. But anybody who watches this who is autistic or has ADHD or both will know that being overstimulated, you tend to not be nice to people. Not all people with autism are that way, but some of us are, and I'm one of them. But yeah, that contributed a lot to me not being able to hold down a job, because I would just get fired. They would say you have anger issues and stuff like that, which I did have anger issues from other things in my childhood, which I mostly got under control. I went to therapy. I had a really good therapist who helped me a lot. But yeah, so I was, up until recently, my son is still living with my mom. And I get supervised visits with him. We're actually going fishing on the 8th because it's free fishing day here in Idaho. And so you don't have to have a fishing license. And I never got my fishing license this year because I was pretty sure I was going to be moving, so I didn't see the point of buying one. And so we're going to go fishing, and that'll be a lot of fun. But I know it's going to be rough on him and me living so far away, because right now he lives in town. I can go see him, but when I move, it'll be rough. And I'm going on like tangents because that's what I do. But basically, up until recently, when I had a car, it wasn't so bad. I could live in my car. I did Grubhub, which I found out I am very good at delivering stuff. I was a Domino's driver. It was a lot of fun. There's something with my brain where I can just memorize roads, and not just roads like the names, but I can memorize road layouts. So even if I've never been down a particular road, if I know what road it branched off of, then I know it's probably going to come out at this other road. And because of that, I have rarely, if ever, gotten lost out in the woods, because I'm like, oh, hey, I know, this is Forest Service Road 46. This road probably comes out at Forest Service Road 52. And we'll go driving down the road. My friends are like, are you sure we're going to get lost? I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure. And we get down there and it's like, look at that, Forest Service Road 52, And they're like, that is so weird. And I'm just, I don't know how I do it. It's just, I know where everything is. And I was doing Grubhub, and same thing. Had the entire area of Coeur d'Alene, which For those that don't know, that's in the Idaho Panhandle. So there's Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, Rathdrum, Post Falls. It's that little narrow spot in between the mountains going into Montana and eastern Washington. I had that whole area just memorized. And people would order from everywhere in that area. And I was making $1,000 a week. And then my phone got stolen. And I lost my income, which, you know, when you're living in a car and doing deliveries in that car, yeah, you're making like $8,000 to $1,000 a week, but it gets expensive because you have to buy all of your food daily, you have to put gas in your car daily, you have to pay for more expensive insurance to actually cover you if you get in a wreck, because a lot of insurance companies won't even cover you if you do Grubhub or Uber or anything like that. And someone's calling me. Oh, I don't care about that. And the ones that do cover you you have to buy commercial insurance because you are doing a job. So the insurance is more expensive. You have to do more oil changes. You have to keep your car clean. So I use the car wash a lot, things like that. And then I suddenly lost my income, and I just bought a new car right before this happened because the old car broke down. And so things started to go downhill. I couldn't get a phone yet, and so it was like 2 or 3 months with zero income other than food stamps, because I was able to get food stamps at least because I had no income. And then my mom gets a call from the last actual place I worked, because I worked at McDonald's for a little bit to try to get a little extra money. And they're like, hey, you have a paycheck that's been sitting here for like a month and a half. And I was like, oh, it's probably like $50 or something. And I go and it's like $460 some. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm getting a phone again. So I did that. I started doing Grubhub. And then I was like, I'm not really making enough money. I want a stable income, so I got a job at KFC, which I'd never worked at KFC before. And I called the people that I got the auto loan through, and they'd been bugging me for a while because I hadn't been able to pay. And I was like, hey, I got a phone again, so I'm able to do Grubhub. I also got a job